Well, hello. I'm Doc Hogg, and welcome to Comics and Variety Midday. It's good to have you aboard. Glad that you're here. And I, of course, am very excited because the campaign for this is the first live stream, well, actually second live stream, but first C&V Midday that I have done since my comic book Tilt Part 2 has launched. We're already at 31% funded, which is, and that's under 2 days, which is just wonderful. Makes me feel just so grateful. Just lots of gratitude flowing off of here out to all of you backers and all my fans. And let's just do a quick reset here and see a refresh and see if we picked up anyone else recently. No, not yet, but I would love to get it up to 33% soon. This evening around 10 p.m. Eastern, I will be on the Graded Point 5 show. I will post a link to that in the description below. Haven't put it there yet, but there is a link to Tilt Part 2. And there's lots of great perks, including you can purchase both covers. And by the way, if you're a first-time backer, and you were unable to, little typo there, I got to fix that. You will have the option of purchasing Tilt Part 1 as an add-on. Just select the perk you want, and at the next page, you will see the add-ons. You can also get a digital copy if that's what you want. Also, Tilt Part 1 is a digital copy, will also be available as an add-on. The standard cover or the variant cover. And then there's also a lot of original art that you can purchase as well. That'll be shipped to you in a nice plastic folder so that it will not get bent. And then there are also the options of getting drawn into issue 3. One of those, the top one, Be the Spirit of Chaos, is now taken. So if you want to get drawn into issue 3, and those and the ones that have original art include all the perks. You'll get both 2 physicals of the copies of Tilt 2 with the standard and the variant cover. You'll get a digital copy. You'll get you will get the pinups and the special deck of cards, which the deck of cards I'll go into, the pinups and the deck of cards I'll go into in my next C&V Midday. But for now, if you haven't backed it yet, do so. Alrighty, let's move on, and just wanted to give a quick shout out. During the recent Trump haul, this woman by the name of Myra Jolie, a Miami lawyer, runs her own firm, was known as the Nodding Lady because she sat behind President Trump and nodded a lot. And, well, cancel culture has come for her now, or maybe more accurately, her employees. According to her, her employees began receiving hate messages urging them to quit after the October 15 event. And these are some of the messages supposedly they've got. She says, nobody can call an employer to fire me. What they're doing is calling my employees, so they quit. They start sending other messages saying, I can't believe you're working for that person. I thought you were better. I'm a fighter, but my employees have a private life. They aren't used to this commotion. I mean, this is really going over the top. Putting pressure on employees who have no control, certainly have no control over their boss's political opinions, and saying that they have to quit, they have to give up their livelihood because their boss is supporting the president for re-election. Folks, get a life. This is not worth it. Any election really is not worth participating in cancel culture. So, alrighty. So just a shout out to her and her employees. I hope the pressure does not get to them. Okay, on to today's main topic, which is that saw this in Bounding Comics a few days ago, and actually about a week ago now. And Chuck Dixon reveals Marvel Comics rejected his pitch for an anti-communist Captain America. Prolific Batman writer and creator of Bane, Chuck Dixon, recently revealed that Marvel rejected his pitch for an anti-communist Captain America. And as I was reading this, I'm thinking to myself, you know how Nazis are almost, appear very frequently as villains in movies and other types of pop culture, and they should. They were monstrous. Murdering 10 million Jews and 6 million Jews and 4 million others. Disabled, political prisoners, gypsies, etc. So yeah, I mean, they should be portrayed as villains, and people should be reminded of what the Nazis were. But they should also be reminded of what communists were. Communists communist regimes slaughtered 100 million people in the 20th century. And at one point, Captain America did have communist enemies, as you can see there, as you can also see in this screen capture, this capture of this Captain America cover. See Captain America defy the communist hordes. But Nolan was saying that here, what did he say here? He was Dixon then went on to lament how Marvel portrayed 50s Captain America, and he explained, "I've always been disappointed in how they treat 50s Cap. And 50s Cap went from fighting Nazis to fighting commies. He made a pretty easy transition there, battling our former Soviet allies, keeping them out of the United States, crushing their conspiracies to end our democracy, all that kind of thing." What he said a little bit later here, but when they returned in the 70s to this storyline to try kind of explain why there was a Cap in the 50s, even though the Cap that we knew, the rebooted Cap we knew, was on ice literally after escaping the Nazis and Bucky dying and all that stuff. So where did this Captain America and new Bucky come from? They wrote a story in which this guy was a mouth-breathing right-wing caricature, sort of a stand-in, an allegory for Joe McCarthy and the House Un-American Activities. Joe McCarthy was actually in the Senate, but that's not the House of Representatives, but whatever. And as usual, the stories were written without doing any actual research into the communist scare period, the Red Scare period. And the 1950s Cap is portrayed as a villain. I've always thought that was wrong. He went on then to provide a brief history lesson detailing that the Soviets did indeed try to undermine the United States of America. And as we know from the Venona papers, it was really wrong. But there were because there really were communists here in the United States trying to overthrow our government, seeding sedition. Hollywood types and people in academia and even people in our government who held actual military rank in the NKVD in the Soviet Union. They weren't just sympathizers or informers. They were actual spies in the pay of the Kremlin. All that really happened. Dixon then detailed he and Graham Nolan pitched a Captain America miniseries exploring the character in the 50s. He explained, "Graham Nolan and I, in the wake of the Venona papers, proposed doing a miniseries that would explore this period in Cap 2.0 in the 50s and basically redeem his character from the 70s portrayal." And I think you can guess how far that pitch went. So my guess is he made this pitch at some point in the 90s, because I remember, as I recall, the Venona papers were released in the 90s. So probably the 90s, early 2000s. Marvel certainly wasn't as woke then as it is now, but I'm guessing it was on its way, and that's probably why this pitch, never went anywhere. And it's too bad. I really would have liked to have seen this because communists are so rarely the villains in any movies, in any comic books, anything at all these days. Ta-Nehisi Coates, who's now writing Captain America and sending its sales numbers into the toilet, portrays, portraying people who support, make America great again, Trump supporters. Anyone basically to the right of Ta-Nehisi Coates is portrayed as a mouth breather in these new comics. That's perfectly fine, and there are plenty of movies with Nazis, which again they should have, but you do a couple of searches and you can find 10 best movies where Nazis get their asses kicked, and they can choose 10 best movies because there are loads of such movies. As this article from Adweek, which I don't have a subscription for, but for decades, Nazis were Hollywood's ultimate villains, the polar opposite of any American hero. Look at how big screen marketers embrace fascist foes, and they're still doing it. And again, that's fine. They should, but they should balance it out with also having communists as villains. And why don't they? Well, because, so many in Hollywood and in the mainstream comic book industry and so many other areas in our culture are on the left, and they have sympathies for left-wing ideologies, including communism, which they think oftentimes believe was, it was intended to be good. It's supposed to make society better. It's supposed to lift people up and get them out of poverty and suffering, even though communism was never about that. It was about power and oppressing people. But because of that, communists are not particularly popular villains in Hollywood and other areas of the culture now. Nazis are, again, they should be, but we should also be getting something like Chuck Dixon and Graham Nolan proposed at Marvel. We should get that kind of mini series, and we don't. If you go on Google and search for movies where communists are villain, you can get 25 most memorable, 6 reasons communists were the ultimate movie villain, and then that's about it. Make communists the villain again is the next one that comes up from the conservative site, The Bulwark. Conservative but anti-Trump site, but whatever. Okay. So yeah, we really could use more villains who are communists. I think it's unfortunate that we don't have that. That we're giving we're I don't know if I want to say giving a one-sided version of history, but we're certainly ignoring a part of history that was very brutal, very deadly, and inimical to really, I think, what America values: freedom and individual rights and all of that. Capitalism, all the things that are good and make our nation as good as it is. I'll just finish up by saying that I was happy to come across this the other day. There is a movement afoot to get a series of the Tuttle Twins, who are all about liberty and freedom, about teaching children about liberty and freedom. And hang on a second, got to check my phone here real quick. Okay. At any rate, the Tuttle Twins are all about liberty and teaching people the benefits of freedom. And I came across this, and they're trying to crowdfund a Tuttle Twins series. They're trying to get to 1.07 million. And you can actually, this is an investment. You can invest a minimum of $100. And if we earn enough from distribution revenue, you would earn 120% of your investment before the founders take a distribution, and then you share in the profits with us. So might be worth backing. And let's just briefly play just a few seconds of this video here.
What you're about to watch is an animated show that teaches kids to stand up for freedom. Hollywood will never.
Amen.
So we're crowdfunding it without them.
No, they won't.
Here's an early look at the first episode. It's an animatic, which just means it's a bunch of animated storyboards. No final music, no final voices, but just enough to give you an idea of the story. If you like what you see, stay tuned until the end to learn how you can partner with us to bring this show to life. Enjoy.
Emily, remind me why we're on this death trap again?
You know I have a weakness for science, Ethan!
And I have a weakness for not dying!
I don't think we're gonna make it!
Lemonade, get your lemonade.
Just 96 calories per serving.
Sugar.
Just 1,096 calories per serving.
I'll have one.
Here you go, Copernicus.
Ooh, oranges.
You're not supposed to eat.
Thanks. Hey, Ethan.
I'm just $22 away from going to science camp next week.
And I'm just $120 away from buying that 3-foot gummy bear. We share our dreams.
Hi, Tuttle Twins.
Hi, Karen. Want to buy some lemonade?
It's pronounced Rin,
That's what I said.
and I don't buy lemonade. According to Section B, Clause W, Paragraph 16 of the Cul-de-sac Kids Club laws, the president, namely me, gets lemonade for free.
The Kids Club president gets to drink all the lemonade she wants for free. Now and always, amen.
Amen.
What? No fair. That's stealing.
Ethan. It's not stealing if it's a law, and we voted on it.
When?
I held an emergency meeting last night. All in favor? It's unanimous.
Karen scares me.
It's Corinne.
Ethan, look, Mom's here with Grandma Girdle.
Grandma Girdle.
Smaller copies of my DNA.
Okay, I think that's enough, but you get the idea. I think, I'm thinking about, I think you have till about November 3rd, actually, election day to back this, and it's an investment. So I'm certainly going to consider doing it, and I hope you do too. This is a way to kind of, push back in the culture war and start teaching children about the importance of freedom. Looks good. And yeah. Okay, just one more time. Tilt is still Tilt is now Tilt is now Tilt 2 is now live, and lots of great perks to back. And the link to that is in the description below. Alrighty, I will be back on Friday. And I will be on Graded Point 5 at around 10 p.m. Eastern this evening. So thank you very much for showing up, and I hope to see you at Graded Point 5.